The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hello, and welcome to the Hoop Ball DFS Today podcast. I am your host, Mike Apatra, running solo to break down this little Sunday, September 20th, quick hitter showdown slate. So only one game on for the card. I know if you guys have been playing DraftKings, you probably noticed that they've had the 2-day cards, so it doesn't look like there's going to be a game on Monday. So they're going to take a break. We just have the Laker and Denver game to talk about. But I'm going to get straight into business. Just want to give a nice little quick shout out to our new and fantastic sponsor, who I can't say enough about, and that is ExpressVPN. So we all know about VPN protects your privacy and security online. But what I didn't know, and I've been finding out recently, I've been talking about Doctor Who, and I'll keep talking about new shows, but until I stop watching it, is that ExpressVPN allows you to hide your IP address and change it to one that is all over the country or all over the world. And then that way you can actually use, like, for instance, I've been watching Doctor Who, switching my IP address to the location as the UK, and I've been streaming Doctor Who Netflix over there as UK Netflix. So ExpressVPN, that's exactly what it does. It lets you hide your IP address, takes control wherever you want to be located, and you can choose over 100 different countries. And then there's a lot of different VPNs, but why you should use ExpressVPN, it is just reliable. There's no buffering, there's no lag, and you can stream in HD with it. So guys, go check them out, expressvpn.com/hoopball, and use that. Protect yourself. expressvpn.com/hoopball. So we only have one game to talk about here, guys. It's going to be a juicy one. I'm pretty happy with the results and the way I looked at it in that last one. I was very high on a lot of the Laker guys. I was low on all the Nugget studs. We saw some guys get into foul trouble. Porter Jr. had a big game off the bench, and that's kind of when that game started to get out of hand. So overall, pretty good opening series for me for that LA Denver game. But we're back at it. We're back at the drawing board. I'm expecting this game to be a little bit different. In that scenario, the Lakers were coming in fresh with several days rest. Now we're kind of seeing Denver, get a taste of what it's like to get punched in the mouth by the Lakers. This game's coming in with a 214 game total, with the Lakers being favored by 7.5 points. In that first game, like I was just touching on, it was 126-114 Lakers. But the box score doesn't tell the whole story. A lot of guys were struggling and getting into foul trouble early. Millsap being one of those guys. Jokic was in foul trouble for a good amount of time. Even Gary Harris and Jamal Murray, both their wings, were struggling with some fouls at some point. So the Lakers kind of had their way, and they did so with the size. And it's something that this team hasn't ran into almost since that first round against Utah. So we'll start breaking this down, and I'll start with the Denver team. Jokic. Probably not going to be playing him again. Now, like I said, I think that price tag is just up a little too high for my liking. On this slate, he's priced, more or less right around the same price tag as LeBron and Davis. And I prefer both those guys and trying to get both those guys in my lineup. It's just tough, man. You got to go against 3 7-footers. You're talking JaVale McGee, Anthony Davis, and Dwight Howard. All those guys being problems. It's not the same cakewalk that he was seeing against the Clippers, where he was just dominating and throwing up triple doubles against Zubac and then an undersized Montrezl Harrell. So they have plenty of bodies that they could throw at him, and you best believe that Anthony Davis is going to do whatever he can to try to get him into foul trouble, because let's face it, Jokic is the core of their team. As soon as he's off the floor, this Nuggets team is going to sink very fast. So I'll probably avoid him. I'm not going to say completely fade him, especially, it's a showdown slate, and he's one of the top price guys. So, getting him and the other two studs in there, if you could do that and still feel good about it, I won't knock that one bit. And then Jamal Murray, even himself, he's pretty priced up. I don't mind paying that price tag, though. You'll be able to afford him with the other two Lakers studs pretty easily and still feel good about your other guys. Will he be my captain? Probably not. But if he were to be my captain over Jokic or if I had to pick one of those guys, I'd probably roll Murray, just because of the slight savings and the way that my lineups are looking right now. That savings is coming down to the boil. Michael Porter Jr. I don't know if I'm going to necessarily chase that same game that we just saw. Like I said, that game got out of hand, and that was the perfect scenario for him. He was able to get in there, be that little spark plug. He played extra minutes with all the other starters kind of being limited. Played 29 minutes and hit a double double. So if you're kind of planning out that game script, or you think this one might be able to, might get out of hand again, and you're playing, 4, 5 Lakers, and you just want to get maybe one or two Denver guys, that's the kind of situation where I'd be looking at Michael Porter Jr. Same thing with probably a guy like Mason Plumlee. I was talking Mason Plumlee in that last podcast. He's a good value. I still think he's a good value. He played 21 minutes, and I think he played a little bit more minutes because of Jokic being limited. But you should still be looking at anywhere between 14 and 18. And with those types of minutes, you can easily double in that. So I don't mind looking at a guy like Mason Plumlee, especially if they decide that at one point in time they want to roll out the double big lineup. All right, ancillary guys, Gary Harris, Paul Millsap, Jeremy Grant. I think Paul Millsap still leads the pack for me out of those guys, and I know it's probably what are you doing? Barely played minutes. Stunk in the last. Listen, it was a in lack of better terms, a shit show of a game. And then we have Paul Millsap also being in foul trouble early. And then once he got into foul trouble and picked up his third foul, they kind of just said set in the pine and the game got away. So they're going to need size. And I think he's just, after all these stinkers, the people looking at the box scores, they're just going to lay off of him. And you know what? I don't want to keep chasing the dragon on Paul Millsap. I don't feel good about that necessarily, but I still think that, especially on a Showdown slate, trying to differentiate yourself where a lot of other people might not look that way or just be tired of looking that way. I will continue to take a couple of shares on Paul Millsap at 5,200 in that utility spot. I'm not going to captain him, but I think he makes sense in that utility spot. All right, and that's probably it. I'm not going to go crazy. I think Mason Plumlee is the lowest that we need to go. Probably won't be playing like Monte Morris. And I don't see myself having too much Jeremy Grant either. I think I would just prefer Millsap for a little bit cheaper. Sliding over to the Lakers side of the ball, a couple of injuries to talk about. Rajon Rondo back, his back problem. He's going to be considered probable, and then we have Dion Waiters being considered doubtful for this one. So looking back at the two big studs, both of them very much in play. I love both of them. I'll play both of them. There's no reason not to play both of them if you could. And then obviously I think we need to talk about Rajon Rondo, who's just been playing great. Whether his back's problem bothering him, thumb seems to be fine after returning from that fracture in that Houston series, but he's not playing as much in Houston, and that's kind of something I mentioned that I wouldn't be shocked if the minutes kind of go down a little bit, but he's still playing enough for Rondo to be able to do Rondo things. Dished out 9 assists in that last game, 2 steals, 7 points. It's enough to get him to 26.25 DK points, and he's priced fairly in this Showdown site. So I will be playing Rondo. And that's what I mean. It just seems like, we're just finding a way to want to play 3 or 4 of these Lakers anyway, where, it doesn't hurt to look at that kind of blowout scenario again. You don't ever want to just predict or think that there's going to be a blowout, but if it's anything like that first game, that might be the way to go. I won't be chasing Kentavious Caldwell-Pope again on that one. I'd rather pass. I probably won't be playing too much Kyle Kuzma just for the simple fact I think Paul Millsap's a very similar price tag. I think he has a little bit higher of a ceiling. Danny Green is not a guy that I enjoy playing. Like I always say, if we land on him, we land on him. He's been hitting that smack on 20 points for that value. It's right where we need, but not too much more upside involved unless he just goes, 6 for 10. And then, the other guy I have interest in outside of the big three, I guess we could say, with LeBron, Davis, and Rondo, it would be Dwight Howard. And he played great in that last one. And, 16 minutes, put up 23 DK points with 13 and 3, 2 blocks, 2 steals. I don't think he's going to necessarily get 2 blocks and 2 steals in 16 minutes again. But I think it's very realistic that he adds in, chips in 3 or 4 more rebounds to that total. And probably balances that out right away. So I don't mind looking at Dwight Howard. I think it's actually a very good play. Maybe not in the captain spot. I think this is one of those situations where it's just better to go with the stud in the captain spot. Tonight we have enough value where if you wanted to play Dwight Howard to get some savings, or you wanted to play Mason Plumlee to get some savings, you have your Paul Millsap, as another top mid-tier guy where you can get these 2 studs. You can get Rondo, and you can get one of those other studs over there on the Nuggets and still feel good about your lineup with that cheap guy that you have in there. So that's probably the approach I'm going to be taking. I'll be mixing and matching on, which guys those are going to be. And then, kind of let it play out from there. I'm not going to go crazy. Like I always say, a lot of this is about bankroll management. We're getting to the end of the season, in the postseason, in the bubble. And with that, that's kind of when you start to tone things down. You don't want to just start, spending everything that you've accrued and you've made and you built in your bankroll on the last games where, the time kind of turns into a crapshoot once you get down to the end. There's, not a lot of options to choose from. People start transitioning into football, which is usually a good thing if you're just a pure NBA player. But that doesn't make it any easier to be able to guess, which shooting guard on the Lakers is going to hit 11 or 12 points on that night. So that's all I have for you guys. I just wanted to do a nice little quick run through a showdown slate. Like we always say over here at Hoopball, we do not want to miss any slates, any shows on DFS today. We want to bring you guys something every single day, 7 days a week, and just be able to provide that content. If you guys have a quick moment, you can go give us a follow or rate and review, subscribe to us on YouTube, get the little, hit the bell, do whatever it takes. It just means a lot to us. We go in there, we check that, we take the constructive criticism, we build upon that. We try to provide you guys with the best free show in front of the paywall, and those rates and those reviews and those comments, that allows us to, prove to our sponsors that we're doing the right thing over here. So, and then you get free content. So if you could do that, it'd mean a lot to us. And then if you could give me a follow on Twitter, or if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can find me at Mike Apotria, MikeApotria. You can hit me on there. Any questions you might have, maybe you just want to, I like to barbecue. If you got a good brisket recipe, I haven't tried the brisket, but I want to get one of those smokers eventually. Shoot me over a brisket recipe or something like that. I'm a big barbecue guy. We could just chat some basketball or some barbecue, either one. But that's all I have for you guys. You can find us again tomorrow. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We will not be having a show tomorrow because I believe there is no slate on Monday. So you will be back. We'll be back on Tuesday. I'm sorry. Yeah. Did I do that right? Did I say that right? Yeah. No show because I'm recording this set. Yeah. No show. Excuse me, guys. No show on tomorrow. And we'll be back Tuesday. I'm recording this the night before on Saturday night, so I'm recording it for Sunday. A little mixed up over there, but thank you guys for listening. As always, from everybody over here at Hoopball, take care, and let's go take down one of these Showdown GPPs.
This has been a Hoopball presentation.